Tinubu's Gaffes is embarrassing. His handlers becoming a cabal, Atiku says. Yeah, Tinubu has been, having a lot of gaffes, a lot of speech errors, making mistakes in the rallies and campaign grounds while talking to both, talking to the supporters, both in campaign grounds, in rallies, and in town hall meetings. Now, the PDP presidential flag bearer is saying that the kind of mistakes that Tinubu is making in all of his presentations is very, very embarrassing. And his handlers are becoming a cabal, and simply because they always have a way of explaining things out to the public, whether they make sense or not. The camp of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said the constant gaffes of All Progressive Congress APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu were embarrassing. Tinubu has made over 20 gaffes publicly since he declared his intention to contest. Atiku's special assistant on public communication, Frank Shaibu, indicated on Monday. The statement he signed said in Tinubu's rally in Akwa Ibom, the APC flag bearer goofed about making Atiku a Senate president, though his opponent never contested any legislative election. Oh, but Shaibu noted that the former Lagos governor's gaffes and miscues are effects of his failing health, which present danger to national security. The AD recalled Tinubu's comment on recruitment of 50 million youth into the army to solve the unemployment problem, advised to Nigerians to renew their permanent voters card before they expire, among others. Permanent voter card does not expire. The Atiku camp said such errors at meetings with world leaders would negatively affect Nigeria's image because the Bola Tinubu who served as governor is different now. The Bola Tinubu of today lacks the capacity to lead a nation of 200 million people, most of whom are living in abject poverty. It is really not about his age, since many leaders across the world are also advanced in age. It is about his mien, his utterances, and his fox pass. Shaibu said Tinubu and his allies have been saying that he lacks in physical capacity. Right? He makes up for it in intelligence because the presidency of Nigeria is not wrestling. Can you imagine? Yeah, they try to explain it out that to be a president is not to be a wrestler. They will always delegate roles and responsibilities and work it out. That was the explanation the APC followers gave. Now, the special assistant accused the politicians' handlers of acting like a cabal, believing that while in Aso Rock, he will have the best medical attention and delegate important activities of state to them. Can you imagine? So the people that are handling Tinubu's gaffes, his campaign programs and his speeches and presentation are supporting him, believing that by the time they get to Aso Rock, Tinubu will delegate almost all of the roles to them, and then they will have what they want. That would be too bad. But that's exactly what we're seeing under this Buhari's government, where everybody is working for him. He's practically inactive, all right? All his speeches, everything he does is done in the closed door. He does not come to the public easily. And then they write all the speeches for him. They tell him what to say, and they tell him where to sign. Just imagine acting like a robot that is remotely controlled somewhere else. Not very good for Nigeria. Nigerians have a right to demand that any aspirant to that office should be in the best state of health. Yes, Nigerians must not allow themselves to be deceived, the statement added. So that is what Frank Shaibu is saying, right? That the gaffes that Tinubu is committing all around are getting too much, getting very embarrassing to himself as a person and to Nigeria as a nation, all right? And the people handling him and all his presentations in the public are also acting like cabal. Of course, that is a mini cabal, because everybody following Tinubu is believing that they will get something out of it. Is believing that by the time Tinubu eventually wins, they will be the people practically in power because they will do everything. I'm sure they're following the trend that we have seen under Buhari's regime as well. Because under Buhari's regime, everybody has been doing every job for the presidency. All right. He's practically not responsible for anything. He's practically not active for anything. All these people that are making noise under him are the people running the government at the back end. These are the cabals. So automatically Tinubu is already forming cabal in the same manner and the same pattern. That is why all these people handling his outings are believing that by the time Tinubu wins, they will be in charge and they will take up all the roles and they will do whatever they like to do. But what Frank Shaibu here is saying is that this is embarrassing to himself. This is embarrassing to a country of over 200 million people with over 50% of the population in abject poverty. All right. This country needs an active government, an active president who knows what is happening, who can take charge, who can give directives, who can take control of everything. That is what this country needs. Who has good state of health, who is mentally sound and not mentally tired. All right. Who is not suffering from any form of disease or sickness like dementia and Parkinson and all those kind of things that are debilitating. Okay, that's what Frank Shaibu is saying here, and it makes sense because Tinubu's health is obviously not in a state that he can take on the challenges of Nigeria. He just won't be able to do it. All right, he just won't be able to do it. So he needs to. Nigerians need to be sensible. That is the advice coming from Frank Shaibu here. Nigerians need to be sensible this time around. They should not allow themselves to be deceived. They should not allow themselves to be fooled. They should vote wisely this time around. They should not repeat the trend that we have seen under Buhari's government. That is the truth. All right? Because that is about to play out again under Tinubu's government if he eventually wins the presidency. Because it means that, first of all, he's going to spend greater part of his time in London, taking care of his health. He's practically not going to be in power. And that is why some people are coming out in the north, especially the lady that defected from APC, all right, that, the northerners are having plan to push Tinubu aside and install Shetima. So obviously, if APC eventually wins with the state of Tinubu's health, Shetima is practically going to be in power. And that is going to be another very serious northern cabal, running the government. Because Shetima is going to be more brutal than this Buhari's government that we're seeing. And that is what gave Shetima the courage to say that when they eventually win the presidency, what Tinubu will be in charge of administrative issues, why he himself will be in charge of national security. So how can a vice president be in charge of national security when the president is the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So it means that there is a plan, a grand plan, an underground plan to push Tinubu aside because of his ill health, and then they will take over again. So we need to learn lesson. That's what Frank Shaibu is saying here. So thank you for listening, and let those people supporting Tinubu's Gaffes stop acting like cabal and face the truth for once. Let's have your comment below for sharing and for learning.